When I first saw the trailer for Argylle, I thought it looked like it'd be a fun rom-com action movie, the same vein as Mr. Right. But I also thought, oh no, another thing that Henry Cavill is being used as bait and switch and he'll barely be in the movie. And I was kinda right on both guesses. So right off the bat, let's address Henry Cavill's role in this film. Well, all the marketing would have you believe he's the actual star and prominent in the movie, but he's really just kind of the face and the marketer of the movie. Because, well, I mean, yeah. I will say he's in the movie a lot more than I thought he would be. I think most people guessed from the trailer that he would just kind of be there in some opening scene or two, as, you know, Bryce Dallas Howard's character Ellie Conway was just describing scenes from her book. Then he'd be sidelined from Sam Rockwell playing Aiden, the real spy, and never really be seen again. And again, those members of the audience, and myself, were pretty much right. But throughout the movie, Ellie sees Aiden as Argylle, mostly during fight scenes. So they would always cut and transition to have Aiden, like, turn into Argylle during the fight, just kind of showing how Ellie is starting to merge her book world into the real world. He even talks to Argylle in, like, reflective services a few times. So all in all, I was surprised and happy to have more Henry Cavill than I thought I would, but of course, I wish there was more, and it was absolutely a bait and switch based on all the marketing. If you like Sam Rockwell, then you'll probably like him in this. Like the movie Mr. Right, he is silly, funny, spy-like man who loves to dance and does very Sam Rockwell one-liners. He is a very good spy and fighter, and overall is just a fun guy to watch. John Cena and Samuel L. Jackson are also in this film, and that's about all to say about them. They aren't in it much, they don't really do any sort of good, memorable performance, and that's it. Bryan Cranston is the big baddie, and he does an okay job. He tries to blend his serious bad guy acting with the dad from Malcolm in the Middle, like, comedy stuff, and it sometimes works and sometimes it doesn't. What really let him down was the story and the dialogue. He is shown as a relatively competent villain until they need him to not be and just keeps making mistakes. Catherine O'Hara, she's here, she plays Ellie's mom, and again, does fine. I wasn't too impressed with her performance. There were times where she had to be serious, and I just couldn't take her seriously. Bryce Dallas Howard, I think, did a good job as Ellie Conway. She nailed the, like, spy novelist cat lady who is in love with her own characters. You know, she likes to be sucked in her own book world and isolate herself from adventure and a love life. But like Catherine O'Hara, there are times when she had to become somewhat serious and even try to be intimidating, and it just didn't work for me. I wasn't sure at those times if it was still supposed to be somewhat goofy and silly or, like, genuinely serious. This is the same for some of the fight scenes. There was a mix of, like, serious fight scenes, spectacles, and downright silly and ridiculous fights as well. The more insane the fight scene became, the sillier they started to be and look. I don't know if they fully CGI'd some of the fight scenes and just, like, copy and paste the actors' faces. They sped up footage, stuntman trickery, just have a really shitty green screen, or a combination of all that. But there was times it just visually looked strange. It had the same kind of look and feel of Kingsman, but cheaper and more CG. The director clearly has a style he likes, or thinks people like, after his success with The Kingsman, but this movie just did not work as well. This next comment is a decent spoiler and a bit of a nitpick. And after that, I'll get into some of the story components. If you want to turn off the video and save yourself some spoilers, then do so now. There is a point in this film where Ellie becomes a girl boss and an unbelievably skilled spy. Not only is Bryce Dallas Howard not that great at the cocky badass spy lady, when they have her doing a lot of the fights, she has that CGI look of her, or, you know, the stunt woman with her face superimposed on them. It looked so odd, and I can already hear the body positivity people shouting at me in the comments for this next point, but when they do this CG fight whatever effect with Ellie, a lot of times they also made her like skinnier and more athletic looking. It was just weird and jarring at times, like, oh, that's obviously either CGI or like a stunt woman kind of thing. Throughout the movie, she is a somewhat larger woman who wears not so flattering clothes. You know, she looks like she just wants to stay at home, read, and be with her cat kind of person. Then when she turns spy and wears dresses with cleavage showing and whatnot as the sexy spy femme fatale, she seems to fluctuate in weight. Could be that they did this as a like subtle, look, she's becoming more spy-like and less stay-at-home cat lady. Like they're trying to use her body shape as a way to show when she's, you know, writer Ellie and spy Ellie. I'm not sure what, but as I was watching, I just kept going, is that the same girl? Wait, no, that was a stunt woman. Wait, is that CGI? It's obviously a nitpick and not that important, but it took me out of the film and made me think about it instead of just like enjoying the wacky adventure. For a $200 million budget movie, I want the effects to not take me out of the movie. So this kind of brings me to the wacky adventure that is the story. If you read some of the Rotten Tomatoes reviews, you'll pick up that this story has a lot of twists, and it certainly does. About halfway through this movie, the story changes a lot, and the audience is hit with twist and bombshell after twist and bombshell. The tone in the story doesn't do like a complete 180, but it does change in a different direction. The story does, however, do a good job with callbacks and payoffs. Even though the tone has changed, they do call back to the beginning of the movie and go, see, this was actually like a subtle setup for the bombshell kind of thing. It thinks it's clever, but it's really not. But it is technically a setup and payoff. And what doesn't help all these payoff moments is the dialogue. Not only is it lackluster performances, but the dialogue is terrible. It is so cheesy, but not in like a self-aware way. If this movie's dialogue is a hint at the quality of the writing, the book that it's based off of, and I am absolutely not picking up a copy. This is your last warning to avoid major spoilers. The biggest bombshell in this movie is that Ellie Conway is the real Agent Argylle. Her real name is Rachel Kyle, aka Argylle. Ah, see what they did there? Yeah, I know. She got in an accident on a mission and lost her memory, only to be reprogrammed by the Division, terrible name, by Brian Cranston, and the woman who turns out is not her mother. They tell her she is Ellie Conway, her daughter, and that she likes to write stories. Her books and Henry Cavill's Argylle are her like spy side trying to come back out and remember who she is. The Division, still a terrible name, is waiting for her stories to like catch up with the last mission where the accident happened in order to recover a hard drive full of the Division's secrets and agents that Rachel Kyle was trying to use, along with Samuel Jackson's and Sam Rockwell's characters, to take down the Division. Sam Rockwell is actually like the John Cena from the book world, and Ellie's cat is named after Samuel L. Jackson's character. So yeah, inspiration all there, isn't it clever? Personally, I would have preferred if they stuck with the author predicts the events thing that they were kind of setting up at the first half, you know, while falling in love with the real spy kind of story. Make it like a little more self-aware. Maybe do jokes about cheesy one-liners and cliche plots from spy novels coming true. If you do have to have Ellie do like badass spy moments, then do a joke where Sam Rockwell does the reverse and now he sees Ellie as Henry Cavill's Argylle, and he kind of just does like a what the fuck face. Even have him like move in to get a kiss from Sam Rockwell and just be like He could go full like Austin Powers and be a comedy with some light romance. Don't do this rom-com turned somewhat serious girl boss light comedy thriller thing. Overall, I would say the story is lackluster and stupid at times. This movie was way too long. The first had some real promise, but the later is what really brought it down. It had too many twists, The costumes look stupid, the action and effects look terrible, and if you're sick of girl bosses, then pass on this one. If you really want to support theaters during the 2024 drought of movies, then you might be able to find some enjoyment in this movie if you're good at turning your brain off. If you still have something like Godzilla Minus One or even The Beekeeper still playing in your theaters near you, I would say go watch those instead, or just save your money for Doom 2. Alright, that's all for this review. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. Any ideas about what you might want me to talk about next? Like and subscribe, and bye.